Okay, and we're on. What's going on, Cindy?
Hi, hey Luis, ¿cómo estás?
La dueña in the house today.
Aquí con el Al, visitando el Al today.
We said tequila, so I got us some tequila. So you haven't had this one before?
No, I was looking at the bottle. No, I've never had it. ¿Cómo está?
It's good. I was like, I gotta get something special today, so
Awesome.
I was gonna get champagne, but champagne sneaks up on you sometimes, so I was like,
No, this is good. This is
vamos
good.
a poner borracho.
We'll see. We will see.
Here you go. So Cindy, tell everybody who you are and what you do to begin with.
Sure. Well, my name is Cindy. I am a realtor for Realty of Chicago, and I'm also a mother, a daughter, amongst other things. But yeah, for the last couple months, I've been kicking butt in this real estate industry.
See, congratulations. I just purchased
Thank
your
you.
first. Is that your first home?
It is my
Yeah.
first home. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
Salud.
we don't have to take it out, just sip on it. It's good tequila, so.
A ver. It is good.
It's good? All right, cool.
It is good.
How's that experience?
Man, well, it's not all peaches and cream, so it definitely gave me the experience of what our buyers go through.
Yeah.
So I got to see kind of what they go through, and just really makes me appreciate the whole thing, the whole industry a little more. And I'm just like, wow, it's good that our clients do have that guidance, because it was like I was my own realtor, So it's different when your clients have you and they have the whole team. And it was definitely an experience. It wasn't stress free. I'll tell you that.
How could I put it? We'll get back to that because I wanna pick your brain on it.
Sure.
That stuff. But let's start from the beginning. So where were you born?
Sure.
Here in Chicago?
I was born in Chicago. I spent a couple years in Mexico. My parents are both born in Mexico.
Okay.
Digo que soy de Jalisco because that's the only thing I know.
Yeah.
That's where I spent a couple of years, and my dad still goes there every once a year at least. So that is where I say I'm from. So yeah, I was born in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Spent a couple years in Mexico. Came back and I say born and raised in a little village. And yeah, that's where I came from.
Yeah. So what part of Jalisco?
No es Guadalajara.
Okay.
No es ninguna ciudad grandota. Uh-huh. It's a little ranchito. We're closer to Zacatecas, kind of like a sister and Berwiner.
Okay.
But yeah, it's un ranchito, and not too many people know about it. Se llama El Mortero. Está chiquito. Yeah. So no digo que soy de Guadalajara, pero Jalisco got some swag.
Yeah, Jalisco's big. There's a lot of nice places.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not to say I don't like Guadalajara, but I've been to Guadalajara. I like the towns outside of Guadalajara.
Neighboring. Oh yeah. Beautiful towns.
Like,
yeah.
I used to go to Tepatitlán de Moreno.
Okay.
I used to go there. San Juan de los Lagos. I think everybody's been there.
Yeah, I have not.
No?
I have not. But yeah, there's a lot of undiscovered stuff.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. It's cool. It's nice.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been some years since I've gone, but yeah, definitely need to go back.
So you grew up in Little Village.
I grew up in Little Village. I grew up around Albany, Troy, over there. My first jobs were in discount mall. That's my first hustle. Yeah, my first job was in discount mall at 14. Selling cell phones and pagers. That's where I got the taste of sales, really, and hustling. I always say that I mean, every job that you have, you take something from it, but definitely that's where it all began for me.
How do you feel now that they sold that whole plaza?
It's bittersweet because I don't think people realize so much revenue that comes from there. And it's not just for the neighborhood. It's Little Mexico. People from all those surrounding suburbs go there to find, items from Mexico and so on. And it's a little taste of Mexico close to everyone.
Right.
So, I don't like it. I'm all for making the community better and all that, but I think it's not going to be what they thought it's going to be if they close it. I think they're thinking of opening a Target. I think that's what I heard.
Yeah, like a shopping center stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Little Village, 26th Street on its own, it's very close to bringing up the revenue that they bring in is close as a Magnificent Mile.
Right.
So it's like, why take that away?
Do you think a little bit? So everybody talks about gentrification, talks about Pilsen, of all the changes that it went through and that it's going through still, and everybody says Little Village is the next.
Yeah,
the next one.
I think so too.
You think so?
I think so too. Yeah, and I think the people that live there are starting to realize it as well. I've sold a couple there.
Yeah.
And it's because they know the value. I mean, not just they want to buy their own neighborhood back, basically.
That's an important thing, right? Like
Yeah,
back the neighborhood
definitely.
instead of letting people buy you out and just making it their own.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Pilsen is great, but that's what happened in Pilsen. A lot of our people had to leave.
Do you think that'll be the difference between Pilsen and Little Village? That the people of Little Village saw what happened?
I think Little Village is given a little fight. I don't think they're just letting it happen, especially now with the age of social media. I think people are more aware of it and groups rally together. And, 10 years ago, Facebook wasn't what it is now. And Pilsen, they didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
It's all good for the neighborhood, but if you really include the neighborhood,
Right.
not
Definitely.
just, move them to the side.
So where did you go to school? What was your grade school?
I went to John Spry. I loved that school. I left late, 7th, 8th grade, went to Canoon, and then Farragut.
You went to Farragut?
Farragut, yes. But I was so caught up in working and stuff that I actually didn't finish high school. I went back and got my GED. Okay. I liked working. I liked selling. That beeper game was something else back in the day, So I liked making money, and I saw I wasn't really progressing in Farragut, and I got my GED while I was working.
While you were working?
Yeah.
So after you worked at the discount mall doing the cell phones and the beepers and all that, and the pagers, did you work somewhere else after?
Yeah. Well, then I began having a family of my own. Got out the hood, as they say. I met my husband Rudy, and we moved to Berwyn.
Oh.
And I've been here 20 years. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a lot of family over there. I'm still over there. It's very close by.
Yeah.
But I've been here in Berwyn for 20 years. And yeah, now I've been here. I stood in the wireless industry for a while. Then afterwards, I took a little bit of a break, raising kids at home and that type of thing. But the hustling never stopped for me. And I'm very proud to say it. Some people, get embarrassed of their past. But I do not, because it's hard raising a family. I have 5 kids.
Yeah.
So raising kids, I wanted to make sure I was around. So I stopped corporate America and selling and everything. And I committed myself a couple of years to the kids. And I always did something. So my next thing that I did was I sold women's accessories.
Okay.
So I'd go to, I love talking to people. So I'd go to, like Randolph Street, the markets, all the summer festivals that you think of. And I'd set up shop and, got my little vending thing going. And I love doing that. I still love doing it. I still do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love meeting new people. And yeah, that was part of it.
So going back to school and everything else, was like in your household, was school education a big deal, or was it just
It actually
hardworking?
It actually was not.
No.
I never really got the push. I knew I had to do it, but it wasn't something like, you better do this, or no.
Yeah.
It was more so work and, help out. Yeah.
Did you have a lot of siblings, or was it just?
I do have a lot of siblings.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest of 5.
Oh, wow.
I was the oldest, so it was like second mom to them type.
Yeah.
And then I had 5 of my own.
Yeah.
So school was definitely a must for them.
Right.
My oldest is sophomore year in college in Minnesota now, so I definitely enforce school on them. They know the importance of it. They know they've seen our struggles.
Yeah.
So and then back to education. Well, that's I went back to real estate school and finally got my license too.
Right. When you did the stuff where you would set up shop and everything else and sell the goods, how did you get into that? Was that just something you fell into, or?
Well, sales has just been in my blood, and I just could not stay still. I couldn't stay at home and do nothing. And it was just for the extra income. And then it was like, well, I want a nice purse for myself. Well, let me sell 5, and then you could buy yourself that purse. And it just snowballed from there. And I still get people calling me now, asking, do you have? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm real estate is really busy right now. I don't.
Yeah.
But it kind of started. I want to say maybe because of a passion for sales, and of course, just to have a little extra cash. With 5 kids, anything helps.
Yeah.
And that's how that went.
Okay.
Yeah.
Growing up in Little Village, what was and I've never asked nobody this, but what was your favorite taco spot? Because that's debatable with a lot of people.
Yeah. Comales.
Comales?
And the Comales other places they're just not the same.
Yeah.
It's that one. That's just your go-to Comales. But the drive-through, who had that? In the 90s, who had a drive-through taco joint? Not too many.
Did you ever go to the old one?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think
How old are you? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think you went to the old one?
Yeah, I'm older than you, I think.
I don't think so.
How old are you?
Oh, man. No. We'll not disclose. But
Well, I'm 40.
okay, so we're around the same age.
Oh, all right.
A little younger. But yeah, the old one was where it was at.
Yeah, that's where we would go when we were kids. When my dad would take us. Tacos,
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where we would go.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Summit.
Okay.
I grew up in Summit, but all my family lived over there. So my
you
dad
spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, my dad and everybody else grew up, if not on the north side in a little village, stuff like that. And then when he married my mom, he moved to Summit. He bought a house in Summit because my grandparents lived there.
Okay.
My mom's parents. So he was just like, he wanted my mom to be close to her family. He didn't have anybody here. He was by himself.
Oh, that was thoughtful of him.
Yeah, so I grew up there, but every weekend we were there.
Yeah, and that's how it is. That's how it is. I mean, even in Berwyn, my family would be like, pues no que te moviste? Like, that's where your heart is. And, it's funny because I spent so much time I still have a 773 area code. I still, rep Chicago, a little village. I'm from Chicago that I totally, like, now that I'm leaving Berwyn, now it's like hitting me like, oh man, wait a minute. You've been in Berwyn for 20 years. You've been so busy repping little village in Chicago that you're actually leaving Berwyn, and Berwyn's pretty freaking great. It is. And I'm going to miss it. But Berwyn's awesome too.
How was Berwyn when you first moved in?
I want to say, it was we didn't have all the restaurants and all that, and it wasn't as diverse, but it was like the beginning of it. It was like the early 2000s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, early 2000s. So
there was Mexicans in Cicero already, a lot.
Definitely, yeah. So I think my in-laws were here way before, so they kind of came over when there wasn't a lot of Latinos and they experienced that. But I came in the early 2000s, so. Yeah, we were here already.
Yeah, I had a cousin who grew up in Cicero, but we would go visit them, and we thought Cicero was like the white suburbs.
Oh yeah.
There was maybe like 3 Latinos, and that was it. And we're talking about the 80s, the early 90s. No, but the 80s, más que nada, like the late 80s, the 90s. Cuando me acuerdo. And we would go. Yeah,
the theater. Remember the theater in Cicero?
I did, but I never went to it. We went to I remember from Cicero was all the food. Because we, everywhere else we'd go eat taquerias, and over here they had real good Italian food.
Okay.
The Chinese food, Wings on Laramie.
Oh yeah, that spot's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. So so like that was what I remember from coming and visiting people over here, and then going to Little Village. Yeah, Los Comales, for gorditas, Aguascalientes.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Periodically también a Totonilco.
Totonilco, I know that's like, it's either, I feel like you either one or the other. Comales or Totonilco. Totonilco never really did it for me.
Do you think let's be honest, it's because of a neighborhood boundaries?
Probably so.
I mean,
probably so.
I think that's why.
Probably so.
I never really knew a Totonilco till later. Comales was always, and you know what I mean? But it was just, I don't know, my dad just like, ahí es donde él.
Yeah, where he frequent.
Yeah.
So then you probably went to Gallos too then? Now Gallos, I'll give him that. Gallos is good. The carne de jugo is good.
Gallos, we would go for menudo on Sunday mornings.
Everybody has their thing there. What do you go for?
Yeah. There was that place across the street from the super mall. It was like a white building. It's right by the Arc.
Oh, Los Dos Laredos se llamaba.
Was it? And they had like pollo rostizado or like carnes asadas and stuff like that.
Carne al carbón. Yes.
Yeah, that's where my dad liked going.
I almost forgot because that was a place where it wasn't just a restaurant, but on the weekends, that's what my introduction to bailes came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they would have, they had like a little section for like a bailes in the weekend. Yeah. And then later, like in their last years, you could run it for parties.
And then I remember the last other place that we used to go when I was super young. I want to say it was La Hacienda de los Gutierrez.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it was like
that was like a bougie place for us.
That was like the bougie place on 26th Street. Yeah. And I remember we would only go there like if someone was getting baptized, somebody was getting
the fancy chairs. Yeah.
Is that place still there? Whatever happened to it?
Oh my God, that hasn't been there for a long time. Really? That was on Trumbull in 26th Street.
Yeah. No me acuerdo dónde está, but I remember that place.
Yeah, they used to have mariachi. I mean, it was like a kind of like a Lalo's somewhat.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, you're taking it back. Oh, now you remember making me remember. ¿Te acuerdas La Kermés?
La Kermés. And you know what? I went to go eat there later on, but we never went when it was like
that was like our Sunday type of restaurant to go to.
Yeah, that place was good too. It's not there no more either, right?
No, man, no, it's not. No, a lot of places came and left, but there's some that still stuck around.
What do you think about the rents being high? And do you think the rents are high on 26th Street
for
the
businesses? For sure.
Do you think that's hurting the business? It's hurting 26th Street?
I think I mean, that's why it's cheaper to buy right now, in all honesty. And that's kind of the message that I've been relaying on my people. Like, I've been talking to a lot of people that are reaching out to me that now they see me on Facebook and grew up with me and that type of thing. And now they're reaching out and I mean, I tell them you are paying a mortgage, it's just not your own. So rents are high. My brother has a few buildings over there, and I've rented a couple of units over there. I think the max $1,100 for like a 2-bedroom.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, rent is high everywhere, but yeah.
But yeah, because I know like because you drive down there and there's not a lot of business like there used to be. There's a lot of spaces for rent. You ask around, people are like, dude, no one's gonna rent these. Like they're asking for too high.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes I ask myself like, is it worth having the rent too high if you're not you're
talking about like
commercial property?
Yeah, they still have them high. I mean, like 26th Street still has some like sass to it, and people still go for things, but it's not what it was 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, because I think you would have people that would come from Aurora, Elgin, Bensonville, from everywhere. They go to 26th Street, but now all those areas have their own little 26th Street, you could say.
Yeah.
Even Melrose Park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, you're right about that. But I know it's still something about it. Still, some people still go. And when I was doing the purchase and that, sometimes I'd go out there, and that's when I would be like, oh man, people still come from, like you said, Aurora. But it's a good point what you said, because they all each have their own little, Mexico now. But nothing's like 26th Street, man.
Yeah, that's true. I used to have. When I was young, I didn't realize like you couldn't cruise down 26th Street as easily. So like I remember we a buddy of mine, my compadre now, he got his car. Si íbamos from what is that? Is it Costner? Over here, right here. Yeah, it's Costner, right? Costner, where it starts. Yeah. From Costner to California, from California to Costner. Nos íbamos todo, y nunca nos pasó nada.
Oh, pues gracias a Dios.
And it was on Saturday nights. I remember we would go, and my dad would be like, "Están locos." We're like,
I'm like, consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, and then I remember on a Sunday is when it happened. One day we were driving by, and like people came knocking at our window, and you know how.
And that's horrible, because they ruin it for the good neighborhood that it is. Mm-hmm. We get the bad rap for that, but when I think of Little Village and like my neighborhood, I think of if you drive around 5 or 6 in the morning, miras a todos jalando. Everybody's doing something. Yeah. Everybody. You see the ladies sweeping outside. You see the tamaleros getting ready. The loteros getting ready for the day. Yeah. The sun shining a little different way. Like. Right, that's when I say my neighborhood, that's what I mean. My neighborhood, the hardworking people.
Right.
See the ladies going to wash and the men too. You just see people working and hustling. Hustling, not waiting for anything, just hustling out there. And it's bad that those type of people, the gang activity ruins it. It wasn't like that when I was growing up. It was more so, like another watchful group of people for the neighborhood, that type of thing, keeping the neighborhood safe, protecting the neighborhood.
Right.
But now it's like, I mean, no respect. From what I see now,
I think that's how it is everywhere though. By my house, it was the same thing. Before it was different. Now it's, más pleito. I think social media might have something to do with it, where people are just trying to show off.
Yeah, for sure.
So going back to your careers. So when you got into real estate, how did you get into this, or how did it pique your interest?
Sure. Well, like I told you, I've always been in sales. and the purses and that, okay, yeah, it's fun, but it wasn't paying the bills. It was just extra money. And really, one of the things was the goal of buying a home of my own. At the time when I was considering real estate, my son was high school age, so I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do? He's going to go to college. I need to, have that tuition money ready. And I need to do something. I knew I wanted to do something. Like so many, I was very inspired by Eddie and seeing the billboards, and I get invited to the events and things like that, and that's kind of how I was. I was standing in line for one of the events, and I'm not ashamed to say it, and he knows it. I think it was a back to school event. I was standing, and I saw everybody. I saw all these Latinos dressed up. I don't think I've ever seen, like, that was my first time seeing so many Latino professionals in one place, honestly. I think it was Maggie, Tanya, and him, and just walking. And I was just in awe. Like, I'm in line, and my head just turned like, wow, like, I want to do that. I want to be that. I want to stand tall like that. And, I stood in line, and I saw them, and I went back home, and I kept thinking, and wow, what do I do? I sent Eddie basically a real estate love letter. I sent him a long email, kind of told him about my background, and said, I have sales is in my blood. I love helping people. I love being I'm always involved in the community events and things like that. Like, what do I need to do to become a realtor? So he connected me with Tanya. She told me on the phone, and she's like, well, it's this and this and this amount of money. I'm like, okay, all right, talk to you later. And I knew it was an investment in myself, but at the time I didn't have all the money for school and everything. So I went to, a couple of months passed, I went to an event that they had that was like a career day. And Tanya and Eddie saw me. They remembered me from our previous conversations. And, it was music to my ears. She said, you know what, we're going to give you a scholarship. We know we believe in you. And they would see me in all the events that they will have. Yeah. So I was awarded the Deals and Heels scholarship. I was the first recipient.
Were you the one at Alhambra?
No, I was the one before. So I was the first one, and then afterwards they started it, and then they gave 3 more. Okay. So I was the first recipient, and then it started from there. I was like, this is it. I can't let them down. So I started the classes. I'd go downtown. It took me I think it was 8 weeks, because I would do all these Saturday classes, like middle of the cold winter. And I mean, I just studied and just read, and that's all I did, just study. Like, my husband would help me with the kids, and I would just study hard. And I passed on my first try. I was thrilled. And a lot of praying. And then that's it. That's how it began. I came back. I told her I passed, and the rest is history. That's how I became a realtor. Yeah.
Going back to like what you were saying right now about seeing professionals or Latinos, well dressed, and being professional looking and everything else. How important do you think that is?
It's unfortunate that we get judged by the way we dress, but it's just something. I mean, you really, it's almost like you're making a statement without even talking. So the way you carry yourself definitely has a lot to do with it. And just seeing them, just being dressed ready, always ready. You don't have to get ready; you stay ready, right?
Right.
So I think it is important.
So growing up, did you ever experience something like that, where you would see anybody like that in your neighborhood or anything like that, where you'd be like, oh, this is profesional or anything like that? Or?
Not really. No. That was one of the few times. I mean, not in our age range. That's what was mind blowing to me. Seeing Eddie, he had a fade. Like, okay, you're not like an older man. You're our age, our generation, and. It's just felt more relatable. Like, man, if they could do it, I could do it. And, I started following them on Facebook. And then I'm like, it's all these young people,
Yeah. Cool. So then, so when you got into the real estate, you already got your real estate license and everything else. How was your first?
It was tough. It was tough, but I mean, I was overwhelmed with the support from here, especially from Maggie and JC. And I mean, you can never walk in the office and not feel empowered or motivated. I mean, we just fill each other up with that. Yeah. So I feel like Maggie, especially, kind of she saw she saw something in me that I didn't even know. And every time I see her now, I'm about to tear up because she's like, I told you, keep at it, keep doing it. I know you had it in you. It took me like 6 months to get my first deal. Finally, after that, I'm still don't know everything, but I've done pretty well this year. This year has definitely been good. I'm just taking it all in.
How was your first deal? Like, what was it, if you want me to
My
ask?
first deal was actually for my brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to be your hardest client. And he was, he was, but it was definitely very rewarding, to help him accomplish, his dreams. And it was my first deal. It's my baby, his house. When I see his house, I'm like, I feel, of course, some type of attachment to it.
Yeah.
Because it was my first one.
Yeah. Did you, so you bought your house now, you see like what people go through. So someone had told me once, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to throw him under the bus. But he had told we had talked about stuff about realtors and the business and all that other stuff, and I would tell him, like, bro, I'm like, sometimes I don't understand, and I'm not trying to diss anybody.
Sure.
But I told him, like, bro, sometimes I don't understand, and so I do insurance.
Yeah.
But sometimes the clients would ask me questions, and I would answer for him, but I would told him he told me, he's like, yeah, I got my real estate license, this and that, and he has other businesses. But then I told him, like, what I don't understand, bro, is sometimes these clients ask me stuff that I would think that the realtor would tell them or show them or explain to them. And he told me, he's like, look, bro, he's like, the problem is that a lot of realtors now are young. They're just coming into this. They've never owned a home. He goes, so sometimes they don't realize the stuff that you're going to go through as a homeowner. Now that you've gone through it, what do you think? Is your perspective and just your general, just dealing with everything with your clients going to be totally different?
I mean, I want to say that I've always provided like really good customer service. And I think my problem is that I overdo for some things. I kind of, you're the go-to for everything. So if one of my clients comes to me and is stressed about something that's maybe not in my field, but it's all, part of the team, I get involved because they come to me and I feel like I need to solve it for them. So, now I'm just kind of like, yeah, I did okay by getting extra involved because I know the stress that they're under,
Yeah.
So I want to say that I've always provided that, like that extra service even before going through the process myself. And I've just always, it's just in my nature to be supportive. So I think my clients always felt that for me, but the perspective now, I guess, that I know is like, it's stressful, it's stressful, and you try to prepare a client as much as you can.
Yeah.
But the outcome is just amazing. It's investing in in property, and what it changes is not just the actual home buyer, but everybody involved, the families, the children. Like my kids are so over the moon right now. My husband is too, and then hopefully home ownership is nothing out of the ordinary to my kids because it's she could do it. We're going to do it too.
Did your parents own their home, or have they rented?
Well, my parents been divorced for as long as I can, like over 20 years. Oh. So my father's owned after the divorce, and I didn't really know too much about real estate until I became a realtor. Really? He will kind of throw it in there every now and then. You should stop paying around and get a house, but never like sat down and like broke it down.
Right.
And I'll break it down to anybody who's willing to hear me. Like I let everybody know. Like I'm getting my younger adult sisters like, that's what you got to do, and
Yeah.
So and that's what I tell clients. I use myself as an example now because I'm like, nobody comes to me ready. It's rare that you get somebody that's like, okay, my credit's ready, my everything is ready.
Right.
It's a process, and you cannot get discouraged when you get turned down.
Right.
There's a plan, and I guess that's just like my spirit, like not giving up, and I fill my clients with that, and hopefully new home buyers as well.
That's why I wanted to have you on, to be honest, because like I see you all the time, and you never give up. You're always hustling. You're always moving forward. You never let anything stop you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. That's me.
So a couple questions I ask people. One, what did you want to be when you were young? What did you want to be when you were?
I wanted to be a singer.
A singer?
Yeah, a singer or an actress.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you sing good there. Time at
Oh
karaoke,
man,
we still
thank
talk
you.
about it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get ready for round 2. I heard we're having another one.
There's people practicing. I don't want
Oh
to.
no, I got some competition this year, huh?
We're coming hard this year.
It's just a stress reliever, singing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Did you sing when you were younger?
I did.
Yeah.
For like my dad and my mom and things like that. And, they'd like, cántale a esta persona and like that. But I don't know if you remember Borichita. You remember Borichita? 44 was like a little kids talent show. Like what you would say like an American Idol for kids back in the day.
Okay.
Like that was like my dream when I was a kid. Like I need to get on there. But nothing happened out of it, and I just do it for fun. And
what would your parents make you sing? Like, or what was their music that you like to sing?
My dad Chente songs, rancheras, that type. My mom like Adriana, and they had like rancheras. Lucia Mendez, that was like a big one when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're making me go down memory lane. Yeah, all those old school ones. Yeah.
What was your favorite song, or the one that you think you sing the best?
That one for the one for the karaoke.
See, what song was that?
Por un amor.
Por un amor. Okay.
Yeah, and that was my first time ever doing karaoke, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I just sing at home.
Yeah. And then second question I always ask is, what advice would you today, sitting here, give young Cindy in Farragut thinking about becoming a singer?
I would man, that's a good one. I used to party a lot. So I would tell myself like, calm down with that. But and just keep going, man. Follow your dreams. Like, don't let anyone dim your light. Keep on going, girl.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell anybody, any young person now, just keep it going. Just keep it going.
Nice. Mm-hmm. All right, and then one more question. I've been asking everybody in October because it's spooky season and everything else.
Yeah.
Do you want any good ghost stories or anything?
Oh man,
anything spooky?
That's a whole other 30-minute segment.
That's all right.
Yes.
There's no timer here.
I know some scary, like real life scary stuff that I've been through, like Mexico.
Really?
Ghost stories. Yeah. All right.
So you still have tequila.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. I'm trying not to make it long.
No. You trust me. There's no time set.
So, when I was a teenager in Mexico, we took a trip to. Have you ever been to Zacatecas?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Plateros?
No. I've been to Zacatecas, pero nomás por pasada, and we stayed once in the city.
Okay. Oh, you gotta check it out.
Yeah.
It's day and night from Jalisco.
Sí.
It's like cold and it gets cold, but it's beautiful. So there's this city in Zacatecas called Plateros. It's kind of like a holy grail type city. Uh-huh. So I'm sure you've seen El Santo de Niño.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where people go and pay homage to him and hacen mandas, and you see people from all over the world like on their knees, like that they make promises and things like that.
Right.
So it's like a very holy place.
Yeah.
At the same time, you got your peddlers and everybody trying to hustle you and steal and that type of thing, like on the outskirts, right? Mm-hmm. So this is maybe I was 15. So we visited this place. I brought 2 cuadros from there, with holy water, toda la cosa. And on my way back home, now like 3 or 4 hours away, we're in the rancho, sleeping in my room, and I guess it was partially my fault. I kind of was saying something like, "Oh, well, if you're here, ghost, well, then show me a sign," or something like that. I don't know what in my mind I was thinking.
Yeah.
Pero me acosté, and I mean, this is like from a movie, for real, like a movie. I started hearing like a long echo sound, like a like that. Uh-huh. And I started getting images of a great grandmother that, I hadn't probably, when she was alive, I probably saw her when I was like 4.
Yeah.
So it had been a long time. I like would open my eyes and I would see her like on her tippy toes floating. And there's I've heard from old wives' tales that nunca sueñas a los muertos parados on their feet. If you think about it, if you ever dream somebody who's no longer with us, you don't see their feet. You
know what? And that's true. Now that you say that, I never knew that saying, but that is true. Because I have drowned my grandparents, my dad's family, Yeah, no.
Yeah, you don't see them walking or on their feet or walking, but you don't never see their feet. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like she was kind of like floating at her tippy toes, like kind of going up and down like that. It wasn't like in a walking motion. And then I'd open my eyes and I would look at those cuadros, and then again like that sound that I was telling you.
Yeah.
So by this time I'm like kind of like frozen, like, oh my God, what's going on? And then I saw like a dark figure, like a shadow of a dark figure. This is for real, for real. No one's gonna believe me.
I believe.
But like a dark figure coming closer and closer to me. Like it was just like a shadow, like I couldn't see a face or nothing. I wasn't dreaming, like I was wide awake. Just coming closer to me, like a dark figure, like a dark shadow, just coming closer to me until I screamed and screamed, and then my dad heard me, and he was freaked out. Like he had never seen me like this ever. We didn't live together, so we were spending our summer vacation there in Mexico.
Right.
So he was just like, "What? Does this happen to you?" I'm like, "No, this was not a dream. Like this was not a dream." And yeah, that was probably one of the scariest.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an incident like that. Not that dramatic, but I was older. This happened like 2 years ago. I went to a wedding in Hacienda in Mexico, and it was like it was like out in the boonies, La Hacienda, and the lights went out because there was a big storm.
No way.
Then so we had candles in the room, and I was sleeping. Me and mi pareja were sleeping, and I woke up in the middle of the night and it was pitch black because you couldn't see anything because it was like La Hacienda, and then it's like the old big rooms, everything else was pitch black. So I'm laying there, and then she's like, "Are you awake?" And I go, "Yeah, like I'm awake. Like I can't go back to sleep neither." So we opened up the windows were huge. They were like big wooden ones, and there was no windows. It was literally like you open it and you're outside.
Yeah.
But they had like a big screen, like a bug screen. So we open it, and I open up the other ones in the other room, which there's a door going to that other room that you could see from the bed. And I open that, and you could just see like the moonlight coming into the rooms. Mm-hmm. And we see a guy. We're real quiet, and we're just like laying there, like trying to go back to sleep. And all of a sudden, we hear somebody like walking outside, and we see like a dark figure again, just walking past. They walk past the room, past that window, and then I see him. I'm looking towards the other room, and I see him passing like by the window. But then I see the figure, like a figure, like just walk through the window
way.
And walk through that room and walk into our room,
Wow.
And like it disappears into the darkness. So ella está acostada acá, yo estoy acostado acá, lo estoy viendo. And then she's like, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did someone just walk into the room? So I'm like, so I grabbed.
Did you elbow her, or was she watching? Was she seeing too?
She was laying here, but she didn't, like, she was just like, también trying to go back to sleep. And then I turn on my phone. I'm like, fuck it. I turn on my phone, and like, aluso el cuarto, and there's nothing there. And then she's like, what happened? I'm like, no, I thought I heard a bug, but I didn't want to tell her because we still had to stay another night there.
Oh, no.
So I was like, I didn't want to freak her out. So that all happened, right? I didn't tell anybody till when we got back. When we got back, I tell the groom of the wedding that we went to the city's house. So that hacienda, what it was is each room was refurbished. So where we were staying used to be, so there was a room in La Hacienda, it was called the Virgin Room. And back in the day, all the young women that would work in La Hacienda, las iban y las ponían en ese cuarto, and they would have a guard sitting there making sure that none of the workers would come and rape them or bother the girls, like the virgins of the rancho. Whoever got caught, bothering the girl or raping them or whatever, they would tie them up. And that room where we were staying was one of the rooms donde no sé si los mataban ahí, or that's where they would hold them.
No way.
So they would do stuff to them.
So was it the guard maybe that was walking back and forth?
I have no idea, but it was weird. And like to this day, like I have had a couple people that try to be like, oh, well, maybe no, bro. Like I saw it with my own eye. If I wouldn't have seen it, I wouldn't have believed. The only good thing was that, you know how they say que if it's bad, vas a tener miedo, or you're gonna feel something even worse. And that day I didn't feel anything. It was just I just saw it, but I was just like, oh, that's so freaky. Because there's been other times where I felt.
Yeah, there's other times where you see it that I just see that, but you don't feel like the bad energy.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
And that's what happened that day. So I totally believe you when it comes to shadows and stuff.
That one was like a bad energy. That one was like a for sure bad energy. But I've been in situations where you just see someone in Mexico too. In Mexico once, like in a crucero. Like I saw like an old man with the old rifle dressed like in old clothes, like with the bullets así, and like guarding there. But it was like in a blink of an eye. I'm like, did I just see that? And then I told my cousin, they're like, yeah, they said that there's like treasure gold there guarding the gold or whatever. But like, it was no big deal to them, you know, like, yeah, el que se para allí, you know.
So they say que la gente que se aparece and they, if there's money if you could see them, that money's for you. So
oh, pues vamos a escarbar. Vamos a escarbar. I'm gonna go with one of those metal detectors the next time.
Yeah.
Man, so what did your partner say? Did you tell her? How long did you tell her afterwards?
I didn't tell her till we left, and like 2 days later when we got back to Aguascalientes, because I'm from Aguascalientes, so we got back to Aguascalientes, and the first thing I told everybody when I got there, like, dude, you're not gonna believe what happened, and then she was just looking at me like, dude, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, you're freaking out right now. I'm like, if I would have told you the first night we were there,
oh my God,
olvídate, we would have definitely not getting sleep. Like if I would have felt something or if I would have been scared, I would have told her like, hey, like, you know, like I just saw this. Like,
yeah.
You know.
That's crazy. Yeah, so that's crazy.
Any other ones before we leave?
Not on the top of my head. I think some people are just more sensitive to those type of things.
Yeah.
Like 2 of my kids, kind of like me, and they get. Yeah. I don't think it happens to everyone. You know, I think sometimes it's the energy. Have you ever been in a room and you know, like you feel, oh my God, especially yes, I do have a good one, a real estate one too.
I was about to ask you about it.
Yes, this is a good real estate one too. All right. This was when I first started, so I was like doing a bunch of open houses, doing a lot. I was doing an open house for Duarte. So you know, usually the sellers don't stay there, right? You know, it's not. Yeah, they leave. So this particular time, I get to the house in Berwyn. I get to the house, and you know, sometimes they'll greet you or something. This seller was just like very weird from the get-go. Yeah. He didn't. He just left the doors open, and he just stood parked in front of the house the whole time. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go in, and the house just gave me like the creeps like right away. Like there was no TVs. To me, that's like, whoa, what's going on here? Yeah. There was no TVs, and there was just a lot of candles everywhere, and like Bibles like lit up. Okay, you know, everybody, some people more religious than others. Okay, no TVs, and I'm like, I'm not moving out of here. I'm staying like in the sala, like, you know, si el que viene, viene, you know, good. Then this neighbor comes in, and she's like, hi, I'm just being nosy. I'm just checking it out. I'm like, oh, okay, and she's like, you know, yeah, this, you know, everybody's house in this black flood except mine. I'm like, oh, really? So back it up a little bit. The front door was like one of those thick screen doors. I say screen door just because it's another second door, but it's like con ese plástico bien grueso.
Yeah, the safety doors. Like
yeah. So I have it open, right? And we're talking, and she's like, yeah, I live here. I've been here a couple of years. I've lived next door. And she's like, every time it rains, my house is the only house that never gets flooded. I'm like, oh, really? She's like, yeah, you know, thanks to the person that used to live there who's no longer here. And she screams out his name. Like, thanks, Bob, something like that. She's like, thank you, Bob. And every time it rains, I say, thank you, Bob, for taking care of the house for us. And when she said that, the door slammed like really hard. So we're like, well, what's going on? Like, I'm like, did you hear that? We go. And it was a bird that flew right into it and smacked it hard. Right when she said that, right when she said Bob, like, and it was a thick door.
Yeah.
And the bird just went and slammed the door shut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I had another problem because she wanted to take the bird to the hospital.
Oh.
But I called Duarte afterwards. I'm like, something's up with this house. I don't think I want to come back.
I have a friend. Hopefully she didn't watch this one. They live nearby. I don't want to say.
Okay.
So he started fixing his basement. He was fixing the basement, and he fixed up the whole house. So he fixed up the basement, and when he was fixing up the basement, taking down walls and all the old stuff, he found a picture. And the picture was the original person that built the house.
No way.
It was in the walls. And I want to say he told me it said, you know, like it said his name in the back, or no me acuerdo cómo pasó, that it said not to move the picture, or someone had told him not to move that picture. He moved it because he was fixing the house. He's like, whatever. And he's one of those guys, like, he's not a believer.
Not superstitious or nothing like that.
Yeah. So he moved the picture. He says that when he was that for like a week straight, he was dreaming, and he would see the guy in his dreams.
No way.
And that finally he grabbed the picture, put it back where he found it, and he drywalled around the picture. And like, you know, like it's in there, but there's the drywall. Like he made sure that he framed it so that the picture wouldn't be disturbed, and then and then drywalled it so the picture's back there.
And the dream stopped. So it's probably like an ongoing curse, and the owner before him and the owner before him, right?
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, and he says that after that he never felt anything or anything else, but that the day he moved that picture that he started having those nightmares.
Wow, I believe it. Yeah. I believe it, and I think I watched something before, back when we had time to watch TV. Something that was like the immigrants that would build like even the skyscrapers, like the older ones, they encuentran like little, I don't want to say caves, but like little lockets in the walls where they would leave their pictures.
Right.
So maybe that was probably a thing in the early 1900s or before the Great Fire and things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, and I remember he did that, and then and I remember I used to bartend at a bar, and the same thing. The owner would tell me that he would have dreams, porque no lo espantaban there. They wouldn't, like when he was there, he wouldn't see anything. But in his when he had a little apartment upstairs, and he says when he would sleep there, he would the same thing. He would dream, and he would dream that it was two people there that were doing it. So I don't know.
That's crazy, man.
So I've been wanting to ask you, La Dueña.
La Dueña.
Where did you get that from, and why are you not marketing it? Like
La Dueña is a movement. It's an attitude, really. It's what it is. It's of course literally, you're a dueña, the owner, but really, what I envision for it is like, like a boss up for women. Especially in our culture, we've been told so many times. I mean, for Latinos, as long as I can remember. Encuéntrate un marido que knows how to provide y que te compre tu casa y esto y el otro. And to me, that's like brainwash. Like, no, like we should start teaching our young women, listen, get a career so you could buy yourself your own house, invest in real estate.
Yes.
And that's kind of where that came from. I have daughters, and I have a little feminist daughter.
Yeah.
And that's where it came from. I was literally, I was working on a buyer seminar. And I'm literally, the best ideas come in the shower. Yeah. And I was thinking in the shower, and I'm thinking, I'm like, what's a good name for it? And when I said it out loud, I'm like, Dueña, that's what it is. And like I said, it's more of an attitude, like, I got this, like bossing it up,
Yeah. No, because when I saw it, and I was like, damn, like that's fucking dope. Like,
thank you.
Thank you. It sounds badass. It looked badass when you did it on the, when you did your thing with it and everything else. Yeah, like honestly, run with that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, I get people asking me all the time, when are you going to do another one? And we just, the market right now, we're so busy, but I definitely stay tuned for it because, more stuff for La Dueña is coming.
How do you, so everybody says, like right now the market's crazy. Do you think you're in real estate, you're out there, you see what's going on? Do you think it's because of COVID, people having to spend more time at home, just people having more time? Some people maybe just getting overtime and making more money right now just because, because of
I see it being a mixture. Definitely the low rates have a lot to do with it. Yeah, the
low rates.
Because I have buyers that, we were trying to get them into something last year. And now, even with their little bit of increase on their credit, this low rate gives them a lot higher buying power.
Yeah.
So now they feel comfortable, and now they're like, okay, yes, I got this. I want to get into, maybe like a little more expensive house, and of course, COVID has a lot to do with it. People realize home is everything. I mean, we all knew it, but now we're using it for so many other things, e-learning and working from home, and it's a safe alternative to going out and just bringing the fun home.
Yeah. So how do you do it? So, and this was another thing that why I wanted to have you on and everything else, because like I said, you're always hustling everything else. And then two, there's a lot of people out there that, and again, I'm not trying to diss anybody. I'm not trying to give anybody a negative review or anything.
No, sure.
But you have 5 children and you're still hustling hard and everything else. How do you do it? How do you balance it out? And how do you tell people that, that sometimes say, oh, I don't have time, I don't have this, and they only got maybe one kid, or they don't have no kids, or they're,
Sure. Some at first, I when I first became a realtor, I tried very hard not to mention that I have children, because I didn't want to be labeled as, a mom and she does realty, on the side. No, I didn't want to be labeled as that. But it's hard not to talk about your kids because they're such a big part of you. And once I started letting people know, that I guess sometimes they even feel more comfortable because like, oh, she's a mom too. So I could definitely relatable, right, to families. But as far as like, business and any type of business, if you have children, some professionals may see it like, an advantage when they don't have kids. But when you do have kids, your hunger is stronger, baby. Like that is your motivation right there. And balancing is hard. Yes, it's hard, but definitely doable. My husband supports me a lot with that. And my kids are different age ranges. And they know, like, even my oldest is 19, my youngest is 4. And I mean, of course, they'd want me to spend more time with them, but they know mommy's out there hustling for them. My little one, mommy, you're going to find us a house today? Like, they're like, real estate is in their blood now. They know what the goal is. And, now becoming a homeowner, like, that's what it was all for. And they're okay with it because they know that that's what it's for. I'm not out here doing nothing. I'm working for them and they're schooling and now they're home.
Yeah. Now that you have a house, what's the next goal? What's the next Duena's goal?
Oh man, I got a little something up my sleeve. I got, your girl got bigger goals now. But first I want to, see how this homeowner thing goes. And I haven't really taken full grasp of it because I've been so busy. I haven't even moved yet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I haven't even moved yet. It's just been so busy, and this market, we don't know how long it's gonna stay like this. So I kind of haven't took it in yet because I'm just working on the next, and I don't know how it's gonna be in the winter months, but then I'll reflect.
I think definitely right now, make money because like I worked during the last.
You were one of the ones that told me before all of this.
What did I tell you?
Yes.
What did I tell you?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Let's drink today.
Oh, yes, let's drink today. You were one of the ones that told me.
What did I tell you?
You said something's going to happen with this economy and you better start making some lender friends.
Because that's what it was. And honestly, like everything I've seen happening now is what happened last time. Last time, that's how it was. It was just...
So tell me about the last time.
So last time what happened was, I think
Were you an insurance broker at the time too?
So at that time I used to work for State Farm.
Oh, okay.
So last time we had a market like this, I worked for State Farm. I was in sales before. I had got someone got me into State Farm. I worked at a State Farm office. I worked downtown first with one State Farm agent, then I moved to Cicero. Okay. And I worked there for like 5 years. And when I started there is when like it first started. And I mean, like, it was just ridiculous the amount of, by the last year, like by the boom when it was happening, I mean, it was just ridiculous the amount of homes and, and just stuff that was happening. And I was just like, man, like, this is crazy. Like, and
that was before the downfall.
And even then we would sit down, because that office would do a lot of financial advising and stuff like that. So we would look at a lot of people's numbers and stuff like that. And we would sit there in our little meetings and we'd be like, dude, like, this is crazy. Like, there's no way that this is going to last.
It sounded like Get Short right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was literally what, and I think back on it now, and I think that's where sometimes with Latinos, where we don't feel empowered, or we were like, people downplay us for so much for so long that we don't think that our ideas are valuable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like back then, I remember we were like, man, like, this is crazy. Like, this is not gonna last. And I remember we would have clients come in, and they would show us. But back then, the biggest issue back then was that the type of loans that they were giving weren't good loans at the end of the day. It was the 80-20, the 20% was a bubble. I mean, it was going to start going up after a while. Some people, they were overextended. Like, like if they were approved for $500,000, they wanted a $500,000 home right away. Even if they were like, their margins were super tight, and they were just like, no, well, and the biggest thing that we would have all the time when they would come into the office with us is they would tell us, no, and this is where like the dressing part comes in. Where we would be in polos and everything else, just, I don't know, just like regular insurance.
You got the beige freaking pants and the red polo or what?
Like Jared from State Farm. He is the, or no, not Jared. What's his name? Is the Jake from State Farm. Jared's the Subway guy. Like Jake from State Farm. So, and they would tell us, they were like, no, pues, mire cómo se viste usted, el del préstamo, tiene bonito carro, tiene hasta de traje.
So ellos saben más.
Ellos saben más que yo, que usted. I'm like, all right, whatever. And honestly, like, that was the biggest, for me at that time, that was my big thing where I was like, you know what, dude, like, something's going to happen here. I'm just going to start looking for another job. You know what I mean? Like, we were getting bashed all the time. But it was because we were looking out for people.
Yeah.
But at that time, and, money, people get blinded by money and stuff like that. So, but the last bubble, to answer your question, I think it was the interest rates were low. But the crazy part about last time was that everybody was getting a loan. Like, it didn't matter what you did or how much you made. Like, they were just giving loans away. You know what I mean? And I think the only thing that I see now that used to happen back then, and if anybody's listening, they're going to be like, yeah, what this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I saw that last time, and I'm seeing it again, is where banks now are just selling the loans all the time.
Yeah.
And they're, you know what I mean? Like, right now, a lot of people are refinancing and everything else. That's something that we did see a lot last time. But for me, a red flag that I remember from last time and that I'm seeing now again is where the loans are just, the banks are just, they're selling the loans. Because now you have clients that, at the beginning of the year, they had one bank. And by the end of the year, they've already gone through two other bank. I mean, their mortgage, they haven't refinanced. Their mortgage hasn't changed, but the banks sell their mortgage.
Yeah.
So, like, if you had Chase, now you have Mr. Cooper. If you had this, now you have Some West. I mean, you have, like, all these weird companies that are popping up now, and these are your mortgage companies now.
Yeah.
And it's like, if the bank, because the banks make money. To me, banks, don't get me started on them, but banks are there to make money. They're not there they don't care about anything else.
Oh, man, tell me about it.
Yeah, other than making money. So for them, my reasoning is, why are they selling all these mortgages, to all these other banks? And then the other banks that they're selling them to, they're not regular banks. They're like, I want to say they're like shell companies. They're just companies that, God forbid, the market crashes, everything happens all over again. Those companies are just going to go bankrupt, and then that's it. You know what I mean? And then basically, I feel like the banks, what they did this time is they're protecting themselves. So if God forbid it happens like it did last time,
they're off their hands.
Yeah, those companies that they made, those fake companies they made up, are just going to go away. And those are going to file for bankruptcy. And the big companies are still going to stick around.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see where you're going with this.
That's the only thing that I see that happened last time that kind of this time I kind of see the same resemblance of it. But hopefully I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hope interest rates stay low for a while. You know what I mean? People buy houses. People are more responsible. That they're able to pay it. They don't go backwards on the loans.
Yeah.
I think right now the ones that I do see that might be struggling later on are landlords on multi-units, just because the tenants have all the rights, and then no evictions are happening. So I could see where people are just not going to pay rent because they know they're not going to get kicked out anymore.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's why I do help out my clients with their rentals too sometimes. Well, when I first started, that was I would get all of Eddie's rentals. That's kind of how I got my experience with all the time. And then I'm like, it's okay doing it for the boss. Like, I'll do all his rentals. Yes, I gotta
Yeah.
I mean, I would take anything, right?
Yeah.
That was then. And now it's like because of that, I'm the one that gets all the questions, all the rental questions. But from time to time, I do for his family or a client who's selling, and we go through like an intense screening, because of that, because you just never know.
Yeah, I think especially right now, like I have clients that call me that have multi-units and stuff like that, and they're like, hey, I need to figure something out. Or they come for me for advice. Hey, I have this tenant. And so I'm like, dude, honestly, right now the eviction courts I think they're still closed. I think I looked into
thought,
it.
Really? I thought they got started in end of August.
I think, but you know what? I looked into it, and I think they extended the no eviction thing till December. So,
and then the winter months come in play and everything else.
Yeah, I had a multi-unit, and I had a tenant, and he would stop paying in November. Every year, November, he would stop paying. Because he knew November, 30 days, December. It's cold now. He knew he wouldn't get evicted. He couldn't get evicted.
Oh man,
so like
horrible.
I would play the first 2 years. I did that with him. I'm like, I tried to work with him, and then when he would get his tax refund, he would pay me. But then the third year, he was like, "Yeah, si se pasó," and I was just like, "Dude, like, I have to take you to eviction court." And then he ended up paying me when I took him to court. But yeah, like I remember that's a lot of tenants do
November,
that. Like, they know
accounting on the tax return already. I'm gonna pay you on that day.
Yeah, and they know. Yeah, and like you say, winter people know they can't get evicted. So
yeah. Well, hopefully we learned a thing or two, from the people that were in it before, like yourself and other seasoned realtors and bankers. It's really the banks, right?
Yeah,
it falls on.
I think, honestly, at the end of the day, it falls all on the banks. The banks are the ones that I think realtors and loan officers are like the first wave, the people on the ground. They're the ones that, determine that to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, the banks, we all follow the bank's rules.
That's true.
I mean, like the bank is el que pone las reglas. Mm-hmm. You need insurance for this. You need flood insurance. It's the banks that see it. It's not anybody else. I mean, the banks are the ones with the money, so they're the ones that put up the rules.
That is true. Let's open up a bank.
I've been looking into it.
There you go. There you go.
How do but yeah, no, I definitely did want to talk to you about La Dueña because I think it's a great.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the love
thing and just a cool hashtag.
Thank you. It is, and I mean, they make fun of me in the office a little bit. I walk by, La Dueña, but hey, I'll take it. Anything is good, man. Bad or good, I'll take it.
You know what? When it comes to marketing and stuff like that, I think take it as a compliment. Because that means that you're in people's heads. Like people, like, when they would call me Owl, at first some people were like, "Why are they calling you Owl?" And I'm like,
I feels weird calling you Luis. When I called you Luis today, I'm like Owl.
and so I used to work at McDonald's.
Okay, cool.
I used to work at McDonald's. I worked for after I left State Farm. I worked at someone got me in. And I got a job at corporate.
Okay.
At the office, and I would read like all these things that McDonald's had and everything else. And their emphasis
all their marketing,
and all the emphasis was always on the arches. The arches and just the bum and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And no one knows right now who's the CEO of McDonald's. Like if you ask anybody, I'm sure there's people that know who he is, but nobody really knows. It's just McDonald's. And I remember when I had read something on starting your business. Your name, the name of the business, and everything else. And the biggest thing was that I took from some of them was that never name your business after yourself, because if you ever sell your business, you can't sell your name. You're selling your name. Nobody's gonna want to buy your name.
Yeah,
you mean
that
like
makes total sense.
If you want a franchise, no one's ever gonna be like, oh, I want Luis Insurance.
Yeah, no, and McDonald's, you got it right. I mean, they're the masters of marketing. Other jobs, I worked at PNC for a short time. I didn't like it. I don't like being either like you. Oh.
Yeah.
And their first hour of training was about McDonald's. Like when you see red and yellow, what do you think of this? And so McDonald's knows.
Yeah.
And they got it. They got it right.
Yeah, and that was my whole thing. So
that's where you learn from a little bit of your marketing.
So I did learn from that, and then and studying and everything else on it, and that's why I named the company what I named it, and everything else.
And it's short and sweet and
yeah, and, y se quedó, and so when people call me out, I'm like, it's cool, and like at first I remember, and I remember one time I was at a party, and this girl worked for some guy, and she's like, they know you as the owl guy, right? And then I go, then my marketing worked.
Yeah,
and they know who I am. They might call me the owl, I'm like, but they know, right? I'm like,
yeah.
Ask them, who else they know. Like they're gonna still think about it.
Yeah, that's where it's at, and now to kind of piggyback when you said about the research, when I was thinking of that, when I was thinking of La Dueña, I started thinking, and if you ever Google it, there's more women buyers than male buyers, and that's just the fact. Like it's women that push their husbands, or it's women that do it themselves. No, sorry guys, we're a little more mature sometimes, a little bit, sometimes.
I used to bartend. And I always used to tell the owners of the bar, like, look, like, I don't care what guys come in here. The girls are always going to get better service because they bring in the men. And I think
that's true.
And that's how it is with everything. I think, like, even though men will not want to admit it, like, women at the end of the day, they influence a lot of everything we do.
And also, and because of that, we're also target for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So when I started doing, I mean, I love pink. I mean, ahorita me cachas esa negra, but I love pink. I love those bright pink and like the bright colors, and I just love the feminine quality in pink. So when I started doing the mugs and I started doing the posters and all that for La Dueña, I mean, if you go to a store or anything, you could pay the same for a deodorant, but if it's in pink, just you'll pay like $1.40 more for it just because it's in pink. And we know unwittingly,
subconsciously,
yeah. Oh, okay, it's pink. Let me get it. Oh, we like things just because it's pink.
Victoria's Secret.
There you go.
Pink.
There you go. There. That always gets me when I see pink, but it's not in pink, but it says pink.
Right?
I'm just always like, what?
But they'll pay for it because it says pink.
Yeah, yeah. So then that's kind of how I went with that. I'm like, if all these big companies do that and they're taking advantage of, not even taking advantage, but they've researched and know that we'll pay a little extra for pink. Like, why can I market myself like that? You know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that came about, and plus it's my favorite color.
Sí. Pues, La Dueña, I appreciate
el agua.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for
And
having me.
congrats on everything on your house. Congrats on 2020.
Thank you.
Hopefully 2021 will be even a better year.
Right.
And yeah, let's do it.
Thank you, Al.